So first up, this is virtual desktop running through Shadow. I'm connected here to the Shadow service. It's not on the same network. It's just glance at the settings that I used. High and high set for both video frame rate and video bit rate. I'm now logged into my desktop. I did check there on the right hand side the control panel for Shadow. The reason being is that you can see with Shadow it requires a high bitrate to run, so high megabits per second. In Shadow Control Center, you can set this actually on Shadow itself and not through the client. You see this is Windows just behaving as Windows does. I'm just going to run Blade Sorcery and just want to show actually how quickly this spins up and how easy it is actually to run. So this is now going to pop me into SteamVR. So there's my controllers and they move fine. What you can't really see on this is that there is a little bit of noticeable lag with the controllers. They kind of wobble a little bit in your hands, but it isn't too bad. You can also see now and then when I look to the right or the left, there's a bit of screen tearing and a bit of a black border appears because that part of the screen isn't catching up quite yet. You can see here that I'm connected at 38 megabits per second. There you go, Blade Sorcery is just loaded straight up. Then going to hit play, and again, it takes seconds to fire up a game, and I'm quite happily in there with my character. All the interactions work as you expect. Again, what you can't really see from this is actually there is a slight delay between interactions, but it's so minimal, it's not game breaking for me. I'm quite happy then to actually continue doing what I'm doing and playing the game as I would expect. What I might quickly just show you is going back over this bit as well. You can see a bit of juddering as I approach the table. This happens sometimes, but it only seems to be when I'm casting. Interactions work fine, and everything as you expect works as it should do. One thing you will notice quite often is there's little kind of jumps, and there you can see a black on the right hand side where you've got a bit of the slow, there you go, left and right. You can see it's still struggling to load in sometimes. However, when you're screencasting like this is recording off my phone, so I'm screencasting to my iPhone and my iPhone is recording this as a screen capture. It is noticeable that it's a difference between it running on its own and running with it slightly slow. You do get then some kind of hiccups where it struggles. I also think as well my Shadow machine struggles a little bit sometimes with the technical requirements of running stuff, especially for things like this where they're not full featured. Here I'm turning it down to medium and knocking on the overclock for the Quest headset so that actually I can see then everything render a bit faster. There you go, so I'm going to put on boost clock rates. That allows me to, I think, record a little bit faster when I'm screencasting, and it seems to work, but it does drain battery. There's a noticeable drip in the battery quality. So this is just running it. I'm just going to let you just play a quick game and see what happens. Everything feels pretty good. There is, like I said, a noticeable little bit of lag, but it's not like unplayable. Everything works as you'd expect. Every now and then I get that weird controller thing where the controller gets stuck up in a corner, but it only seems to happen when I'm casting, so there seems to be an issue more with the Quest, having to relay all that data, I think. Otherwise, everything works as you kind of expect. It's actually amazingly playable and works surprisingly well. The thing I've noticed as well is I quite happily can move around in my play space without actually having to worry too much about where I'm standing or whether I'm going to hit the edges, because the Oculus Quest edges do pop up every now and then. Occasionally they'll just pop up and say, yep, you are near a boundary. And that's cool because it still feels like you're in the Quest. It doesn't feel like you're reliant on SteamVR to actually do the boundaries. I'm doing this with standing only setup because room setup doesn't really work because it has no concept of what your room is because you've got no sensors or anything. But it seems to work really well. It's just standing only, hence the blue circle underneath me. I can move around in that space quite happily and it doesn't matter. Again, you can see on the right and the left every now and then a bit of screen tearing where you've got black borders of what it hasn't rendered starting to appear. But surprisingly, you don't notice it. Everything runs pretty fast and you can move around pretty fast. One thing I have noticed, and I played a couple of other experiences to see if they made a difference, is that the controllers don't vibrate. So there's no feedback on vibration. It's a bit weird because I kind of expected there to be a little bit of feedback on the controllers, and obviously most games do have feedback vibration, but I'm sure there's a reason for it, and it might even be something I just haven't found yet that I can tweak and change. There you go, you can see the blue circle on the ground there. And then that's then triggering Steam Home. So there I am, quite happily logged into Steam Home, as you'd expect. And then I've gone back to my desktop and then come out of Shadow quite happily. It works surprisingly well.